Yeah, okay, I'm back with you. I'm so sorry about that. My Streamlabs crashed, as you can see, and Streamlabs threatens my career once again. Thanks! Right as I reach 10 people, the Streamlabs crashes. Thanks, Streamlabs. Thanks. I would kill you if you were a real person for what you've done to my life. And I mean that in a metaphorical way, in Minecraft. Thanks for trying to assassinate my career for 2 solid years and crashing something like 40,000 times. And I'm not kidding. I wish I was exaggerating, but I believe the number is somewhere around 40,000 times. The people watching the stream can attest to it. It's up there around 40,000. Streamlabs, you were unacceptable. Reloads today, I wiped everything. I wiped everything Streamlabs did. And yeah, it turns out when you load games with the AC or you close them, it crashes the Streamlabs. I'm so sorry, guys. I realized I did lose like half my stream there. So sorry. Yeah, Streamlabs sucks dick and stole the money and crashes every streamer on the planet all day long. And I watch and read all the forums about it all the time. Yeah, Streamlabs is full blown like one of the worst scam artists on the planet. And in the background, they're just fucking everybody. So hopefully they'll get theirs. We'll see. But anyways, if there wasn't a monopoly and it wasn't all the same program, I would use a different program. But it's all the same program and all the same fucking bad coding. Okay, that goes in my mining hole. Let's load another video. Let's go hunting for something good. What's good, right? So I guess that will be part one. Yeah, 5-hour video. That's good chunk, right? Maybe I'll just cut it in half because I guess Streamlabs will crash at least once a session. So that's where the video break will be. Is when Streamlabs crashes when I switch games halfway. Okay, hi guys. Sorry, I'm starting a new video now, and yeah, as usual, Streamlabs crashed 6 hours in, and I lost 5 people. Isn't that cool? Thanks, Streamlabs. Yeah. So here's part two of the MMO Lifestyle on 10/7/2023, and I'm so sorry. Just a reminder, you are watching Skycat live, and Streamlabs failed me again for the 40,000th time and cost me time and money and interest and everything, and it is trying to assassinate my career. Yeah, isn't that great? Hey, let's get Streamlabs Monopoly the fuck out of here. Yeah. Anyways, click on the donate and all that. And yeah, full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on the background. This is video 2 of 10/7. And whatever, October 7th. And we're going to hunt for a good video to watch while I'm going to play. What is it? I don't have to fuck with titles anymore or anything. I can just be myself now. We're going to New World. I'm not fucking with titles for 15 fucking minutes every time I pop a game. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, but it eats up all my life and most of my time. There's this point where I'll just like, I'll take no career at all over wasting 15 minutes every time I play a different game. I'll take no career at all over that. I really will. I'll take no career at all over 15 minutes every time I switch a game trying to change titles and Streamlabs crashes and everything. I'm just not going to do that. I'd rather die first, I think. You can have your money. I don't care if it means dealing with your software like on purpose all day and losing 15 minutes to it and changing titles and forcing Twitch to show the world how really fail their title changes and how really fail the Kick title changes and how really fail the YouTube title changes and how often it fails and how it'll eat 10 15 minutes and it'll lie to the public about what your stream is and all this, right? So you really got to dot and check and look at cross the T's and dot the I's when you're using Streamlabs and all this other stuff because you're gonna have a crash and all this other stuff. It's just kind of funny. It's like, Anyways, New World appears to have crashed on load. That's always fun. Hey, thanks. Here's the next program, sucking dick and crashing. Great. Thanks, New World. What other program's gonna? Oh, wait. Cancel. Oh, great. You finally loaded as you hung, huh? Thanks for that, New World. I really appreciated that. That was really fun. Thanks, New World. Pretty fun how you crash like 3 or 4 times a day when I load you. Isn't that so cool? It's so cool of them to make their client like that. Thanks, AGS. Thanks. I really like how your client crashes all the time on load. It didn't do that for a year and a half when you launched it, but when you lost your population, loading screen crash, just like Fallout 76, just like World of Warcraft, just like every other MMORPG out there. What were you doing to code this where it didn't crash like this earlier? Because, yeah, go back to whatever that was, where you don't crash on load like every other MMORPG. I know it's bordered full screen, but still, like, you guys gotta kind of understand that border full screen is literally 100% of all of the gamer's usage. I don't believe I know anybody who uses full screen. So I know your dinosaur coding and your problems with crashing on screen and all this shit is really bad, and you know you don't know how to make a program, but you're a billion-dollar software company. But I really need you to not crash like this anymore. It really is a bad trip for me. I have to entertain the stream somehow, so I just troll you to your fucking face. Why does your load crash all the fucking time? I reinstalled New World 5 times this week. Why does your fucking load crash like that, New World AGS, huh? Why does your crash? Why does your load crash like that? Why do you cheat in Rust? Why do you crash your load? Why did you cash grab that money instead of fixing your client? And trust me, you've been doing a lot of work on fixing this client, but yeah, man, your client has not gotten better. It's gotten worse. It crashes so much on load. So much. Like, so much more than it used to. So much more than it used to. So yeah, you're talking about, ooh, new expansion. And I'm thinking, but you can't even get the initial load right. Why are you launching another expansion? You can't even get the load of the initial game right. Oh, sorry, truth and trolling when it actually means like the actual truth that you could march up into a court of law. Why did you release an expansion when you can't even get the game to launch properly or fast? Oh no. You see how I would run a company as opposed to how other people run these companies. I'm thinking, yeah, if the guys can't even get in my front load, my front end, how really good is my game? Do I need an expansion if there are any problems with the previous one at all? Do I need an expansion? Should I be spending money on it and trying to get better? If they can't even load the initial client without crashing 5 times every time they fire up the client border full screen. And I don't know. I don't know why. But yeah, I'll troll you to your fucking face, and I hope they do play this video to your fucking face, AGS developer. Why can't you get a load right even? Just saying. Man, how long is this load gonna be? This load right here, do you see it? How long is this load right now? I think it's just, as a result of the recent world restarts associated with the hotfix maintenance, some characters were reverted to a previously recorded spot on their season pass. The issue causing ongoing season pass progression loss has been fixed. Yeah, right. And we will rectify all lost progress as soon as possible. Please see full details on blah blah. This world is currently experiencing an unusually high player volume. Please consider alternative worlds with availability or join our official Discord server. It appears that New Worlds will not let me on. So we will let it load for a while, and we will just go on about our business in other games. And we don't let the triple anus win. We don't let the stinky triple anus. We don't let this is my lesson to you, my wonderful gamer children. We do not let, this is the bottom line between us and them, right? This is the line that we draw in the sand. We don't let that stinky triple anus, we don't let them waste our time. We move on. We play a different game. We don't obsess about what we're seeing. We don't think about the queue. We don't worry about it. We go play a different game. We don't let their stinky, stinky triple anus that they want to rub on our lips. We really try not to smell it when they're rubbing it on our lips. Okay? And this is the best lesson that I can teach you. You can rage and rage and rage and rage, but one of the other best lessons that I can teach you is anger is a contract that you must sign up for. You can't not do anything but sign up for it. You have to sign up for anger. You have to put energy towards it, right? And so usually when you get in situations like this, you're going to want to get angry and you think, oh wow, well, it took 4.5 minutes for you to tell me what the queue was even. So do I even trust you with the queue? I do. And the queue is long because the game is good. And so we like queues, okay? So we don't rage out about stuff like this. I will play a different game while I wait for the new world. And sorry guys, this is just the MMO lifestyle. Sometimes the triple anus is stinky. And sometimes you have a really big queue, and sometimes you have MSQs that are glitched because of players, not even the company itself. And sometimes you have a little bit of a failure to launch with MMORPGs. But you know what? MMORPGs are the spruce goose of video games. You know, they're like the spruce goose. They take so much to even run. Like, I don't know if you guys know the story of the spruce goose. You might have seen it in the movie about Howard Hughes. What is that? The Aviator, right? The story of the spruce goose, right? So Howard Hughes made this huge flying fortress. Now, this content is Finley Holiday. Thank you for the excellent content for my stream. I've liked and subbed to your channel. We are not going to watch this video. We are going to listen to this video if they talk. And it's interesting to see what I'm talking about for 5 seconds, but we're not going to steal this man's video while we sit here. We're just going to show you what the Spruce Goose looked like, and you'll understand what MMORPGs are. They're these huge efforts by rich people to try and entertain the masses, and they're these huge, contraptuous, like, airplane fortresses that are strapped together by tape. And we try to forgive them when they crash to the planet, like you know, because Newtonian physics are a thing. So looking for a picture of the craft, but I'm not seeing it. There it is. So that's the Spruce Goose. It's like the size of, like, a small town or something. It's...
This is the largest airplane ever built.
Yeah.
And its unique size and design.
And, like, you get an idea, and that's all you really need to see. I'm not trying to steal this fucking content. I'm trying to listen to this content like a podcast.
It was test flown once in 1947.
Thank you for sticking with me on part 2 of 10/7, you know, October 7th, MMO Lifestyle. Thank you for sticking with me through the second video, through the Streamlabs crash, guys. Despite all of the software and all of the world governments and all of the people and the Republican Party crashing down around us, and the failures of our leaders and the failure of our software despots who steal from us and rape children and stuff, we're still smiling, and we still see that when they rub their triple anus all over our lips, we don't have to smell on purpose. We don't have to inhale. We don't always have to inhale. We can just go do something else. We don't have to think about how bad it is, you know? And this is the glass half full boomer attitude that you'll never see. It's always like garbage, garbage, dumpster fire, garbage, garbage, dumpster fire, right? No. I'm saying no. When life gives you lemons, it's probably actually a glass half full of piss. The glass is half full, and the glass is half full of piss. So understanding that the glass is half full of piss is cool, and you're just like, okay, well, I move on and I do something else then. And so we're gonna go play Fallout 76, since I like Fallout 76. Or I could play Overwatch 2, but I don't think I want to play Friday Night Overwatch 2. That's when the bads play. Sorry. Maybe like 1 in the morning I could play some Overwatch 2. But yeah, the boomer bads, they play at like 7 p.m. Gotta stay away from that crowd. Oh no, I have to change my resolution. No, don't freeze. Oh, now you froze, you piece of shit. Don't freeze my stream. Don't freeze my stream. Don't do it. Fucking, I don't think Fallout will stream. I don't think Fallout will actually freeze my stream at all, actually, because it's not easy anti-cheat. Okay, so then, sorry for the delay, guys. Fallout games, when they're in border full screen, they like to crash on launch, right? And so I blame both the developers and Microsoft, because they're basically the same thing. They both go to the same cigar bars in the same Lolita Express. You know, Valve and Microsoft, they all go to the same Lolita Express together, to the same cigar bar together, you know? So, yeah, I really think of them as the same thing. Wish I was kidding. Anyways, so Howard Hughes, blah blah.
Long Beach, California.
I've been to the Spruce Goose. I've been to the Spruce Goose in the QE2, which is the, or I'm sorry, the Queen Mary, or the Queen Elizabeth II, which is a giant yacht, or giant ship.
The outcome was a happy one.
Giant pleasure ship for the Queen. Retired in Long Beach.
And the Suma Corporation stepped in and saved the great airplane. A huge dome was built to house it alongside the Queen Mary
in San Pedro. Queen Mary. Queen Mary.
A flyover of famous old aircraft was part of the opening day celebration for the Spruce Goose attraction on May 14th, 1983. Bonita and Jack Rather officiated at the ceremonies, and actor Jimmy Stewart cut the ribbon. The permanent home of the Spruce Goose is in every way suitable for the mighty seaplane. It too is unique, the largest freestanding geodesic dome ever built. It's as tall as a 13-story building and 415 feet in diameter. The chronicle of
I'm gonna
Tower
propose
2
a
is the
trip to my.
legendary
I'm gonna
eccentric
propose a trip to my mother, because we haven't done a vacation or anything fun with each other since I was 27. I'm 40 now. It's been 13 years since we've done anything fun together. And when I moved back here, we didn't go do anything really because I just went to start to work. That, like, pretty much the day I got here, I wired everything up. I set up. I did all the programs. I learned the Streamlabs. I hard focused for like a week, and then I just started streaming. Pretty much, I knew immediately what I was going to do when I got here. It took me about a week to feel like confident enough to even fire it up. But then when I did, I was like, yeah, I feel good. And then the next day it felt good. And yep. So, but I'm going to propose a trip to my mother, which I guess I'll go research now live on stream because I can do things like this. I want to go to the Queen Mary, and have Thanksgiving dinner there if they still offer it. And I'm gonna go research this right now. And the reason I want to do this isn't because I'm some rich asshole or that I, that I have a lot of money. I'm actually talking about maybe only spending like $300 or something like that, and seeing if we can, well, like $500 I think, and seeing if we can maybe get a vacation in before she passes away and she's too old to go anywhere. And I want to do something nice for her before she passes. And maybe we take a look at the Queen Mary Thanksgiving. Dine aboard the Starry Queen Mary for Thanksgiving. Yep, November 22nd. That's what it looks like. But I mean, it won't look. I mean, it doesn't look like the people don't look like that anymore. There's award-winning brunch. Thanksgiving Day fare will include. I think she might like this idea, but see, flying to San Pedro from Portland. I guess I want to look at Frontier tickets. I guess that might reveal some information, so I'll just pop this to the other screen. Sorry, guys, but yeah. I will look into what a plane ticket costs, but we used to do this when I was a kid. We did this like 3 times, and yeah, it's $69 per person, $79 per person with free flowing champagne. 79 for $80. 80 bucks, it's free flowing champagne. Children ages 4 to 11 can dine for $24. Thanksgiving Day brunch is served from 10 a.m. through 7 p.m. Reservations can be made at Sir Winston's Restaurant and Lounge. The Queen Mary's award-winning dining experience features a 5-course culinary extravaganza for $74 per person. So if she and I were to go, it would be $300. If my stepdad, well, he's sick though, I don't know if he'll want to go, but like if my stepdad goes, it'll be $450 plus probably 60, or no, it's like, yeah, it's like 120 each. It's outside of our range. We can't reach it. This will be what I do. I mean, I guess I'll have to attend my own family's funeral, I guess. But I don't have to do a wake or anything like that because I don't have any friends or family. So I'm basically an orphan now. I don't have anybody left. So now I've got my family, but I mean when they're gone, that's it. So now I think when my parents are both passed, I will go dine aboard the historic Queen Mary for about $500 because I'm sure I'll inherit something like I'm inheriting the land, and I know they have some money. It's just mostly gone. So I'll probably inherit like $5,000 or something, and I think I'll probably spend like $500 on, well, like maybe $600 on like a motel and a ticket. And when the last people are gone out of my world, this will be the last time I go see humanity. I think I'll go to the Queen Mary because
the asteroid is
the beautiful thing about the Queen Mary is it was fit for a queen. It was Queen Mary's personal conveyance when she wanted to like to go on the high seas in a pleasure craft, like a giant, like freight, a giant luxury, luxury. Oh, it's a giant luxury cruise ship that the Queen retired, and the people retired it in San Pedro, and it's docked up there. And my favorite memory of my entire life was going there. I think Halicon memories, brings tears to my eyes. Boy, the food looks good. The burger looks pretty good. You probably can't see it that well, but I'm gonna take a look at the Streamlabs here. Oh yeah, did Fallout 76 actually load? Yeah, I don't know. I have to change the resolution now, and I don't know if it'll let me do that. There we go. It loaded that time. Yay. And then what are we doing? We're going to settings to display, and we're going to switch this to 2560 by 1440. And then we're going to say display. Yep. Yep. And then display. Yeah. Are we going to do that, or? Well, I don't know. I guess I don't want to crash the stream. I think. Oops. Yeah, sorry about that. I will go modify the file again and get me out of the mess that caused this, which is in my Fallout 76 folder. Prefs. I have set the wrong resolution. 2560 by 1440. Yeah. And then we say, we can't save because this is a read-only, so we'll have to change that. Read-only, apply. Sure, fine, go. And then file, save, and then, yep, and then everything looks good, hunky-dory on this side. We're gonna quit out, quit to desktop. We're gonna file, save, quit. Run the properties to 76 and read only, because Bethesda is pretty much Nazi about settings. And there's like a Rise and Shine seasonal sliced fruit and berries, prime rib station, smoked beef brisket station, rosemary marinated turkey and gravy station, right? Street taco station, Asian station, sushi station, Italian station. Brunch prices start at $69 per person. Right, to make reservations at Sir Winston's Restaurant and Lounge, call 562 at Chelsea Chowder House and Bar and Promenade Cafe. Yeah, I don't know if they still do this is the problem. I don't know if they still do that, but yeah, it's like wow. So yeah, it's like $186 a person for a one night stay. 532. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's up at 532 for. Oh no, I want to go on. Well yeah. Check prices for your dates 219 and all this. Yeah. Huh. So what is that? That's November 22nd, I think. Yeah, November 22nd, right? What would November 22nd be? For $146 each, we could get I think that's what I'm seeing here. Let's view the prices, right? Yeah, oh yeah, for $160, yeah, for about $500. So I will talk to my mother tomorrow. $7.45, guys. It's not too bad, and yep, and we're just playing in the background here. Queen Mary. I'd like to see it again before I die because it reminds me of a better time when people were happy. And I'd like to visit it one more time before the world descends into madness. My family is dead and there's no one left. You know? It's not that I'm sad or depressed. It's that the odds didn't need to be the way they were. So now I don't really like humanity. I'm like, man, the shit didn't need to be the way that it was. I really don't think. But maybe it does. I don't know. Not for me to say, but Yeah, what's
Who
let's listen
designed,
to it.
built, and flew the Spruce Goose is as remarkable as that of the great airplane itself. Howard Robard Hughes was born in Houston, Texas in 1905. His father amassed a fortune by inventing and marketing a unique oil drilling bit. Young Howard also showed a remarkable mechanical aptitude, even fitting a motor to his bicycle. Then at the age of 19, he inherited
Ooh.
the Hughes Tool Company, and for the rest of his life, he was a wealthy man.
Wow. He made
Hughes
like the
moved to
first
Los
motor
Angeles,
bicycle.
determined
That's
to become
crazy.
a movie producer. After a modest start, he undertook an epic film about the flyers of World War I and collected a fleet of authentic fighter planes. The film was ready for
Foo
release when
Fighters.
talking pictures became a reality. Hughes reshot his movie in sound. Hell's Angels, released in 1930, cost an unprecedented $6 million. It was an instant hit and is now a screen classic. Hughes was a born showman, and more great films followed, including Scarface and The Front Page. But he had another passion: flying. He broke several long-distance speed records, and in 1937, he flew coast to coast in just under 7.5 hours.
Wow.
This is the H-1 racer that he designed and flew. President Franklin D. Roosevelt presented him with the Harmon Trophy, and Hughes had become as famous a flyer as Charles Lindbergh. A replica of his H-1 racer is on display next to the Spruce Goose. In 1939, Hughes flew around the world in a Lockheed Lodestar. He reached Paris here in half the time Lindbergh had needed 11 years before. Hughes continued eastward with refueling stops and returned to a ticker-tape parade in New York. He had circled the globe in less than 4 days. It was a new record.
America. Fuck yeah.
After Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor and America's entry into World War II, industrialist Henry J. Kaiser proposed a fleet of huge seaplanes for transporting troops and supplies to far-off battle zones.
I love this
Nazi
music.
U-boats
This
had
music
been
makes me
sinking
so
scores of
happy.
Allied
The
supply
music used to be
vessels.
so much
These
better.
cargo planes would
So
be
much
able
better
to
when I
fly
was a kid
far
than the
above
shit they
the
play now. It's like this
Kaiser
droned out.
joined
Like, listen to the stuff that they played. They used to play on like all the television shows and everything. It used to sound like it was like an orchestra, you know, because they had all these B rolls from like the '60s that they would reuse and stuff, rather than like play this crappy droned out techno sounding stuff like boom da 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 boom da 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 boom da da da. When you listen to a fucking commercial or whatever, now here's some crappy band or something. Like, but I used to love the stuff that sounded like actual like brass. It sounds like real guys were playing horns in a harmonic orchestra. The music that they used to have in television shows used to be so much higher quality.
with Howard Hughes, who also had an
Stuff
eye
like
for
this.
Grand Enterprises, and they secured
Reminds
a
me of
government contract
Beethoven's The
designed and
Fifth from
built the plane.
in Stanley Kubrick's
Hughes put his engineers
The
to
Shining,
work.
or not The Shining, but Clockwork
At
Orange.
Culver City, California, Hughes built a special hangar in which the giant plane could be constructed. The unprecedented size of the flying boat meant that new tools and techniques had to be devised, and the work progressed slowly.
The work progressed slowly.
Hughes, always a perfectionist, personally oversaw even the tiniest details. Because of the wartime shortage of metals, the plane had to be fabricated entirely of wood. Birch was selected and was shaped, laminated, and bonded through a unique process that produced a smooth, hard outer surface.
Smooth and
Kaiser
hard.
left the project, and by the time the war ended in 1945, military urgency for the giant flying boat had long since vanished. But Hughes, convinced that his unique plane was important for aeronautical research, spent more than $7 million of his own money on its completion. In June 1946, the plane's hull and two wing sections were moved to Long Beach for final assembly and for the eventual flight testing of the seaplane in the harbor. The 28-mile route from Culver City was carefully mapped out. Roads and bridges were checked for strength. Trees were trimmed, power lines raised. The move took 5 days. As the immense components were slowly transported toward Long Beach, 100,000 spectators lined the route, and children in nearby schools were recessed from class to watch. During the war, Hughes had also secured a government contract for a photo reconnaissance airplane, the XF-11. His customary again delayed the work, and it was 1946
Sounds
before
like
the prototype
Nubuo.
was completed. On July 7th,
Nubuo
Hughes
was
flew
incredibly
through a variety of
influenced by
tests.
March, and so am I.
A propeller abruptly malfunctioned and the plane crashed in
March
Beverly
can be
Hills.
very
Hughes was
strong.
nearly killed.
Can elicit a
His
very strong
injuries would
response
cause
in
him pain
people.
the rest of his life. Work continued on the giant flying boat. It was to be powered by 8 radial Pratt & Whitney engines. Critics claimed the huge plane would never fly, but Hughes pursued his own convictions as usual. He projected a cruising speed of 200 miles per hour. Like any other prominent figure, Hughes had made political enemies. His flying boat still had not flown, and he was accused of having profited from his wartime contracts. In August 1947, he was summoned before a Senate investigating committee. Although he made a masterful presentation of his case, his untried wooden seaplane was derisively called a flying lumberyard and the spruce goose. Hughes was later entirely vindicated, but those nicknames rankled. He pushed his big plane to completion. Stan Soderbergh, now custodian of the Spruce Goose, went to work for Howard Hughes on the airplane in 1946.
When I was hired on, it was a job that was called a trimmer, which entails working with fabric. I was a parachute rigger in the Navy, and so it was parallel to that.
On November 2nd, 1947, the Spruce Goose was towed out into Long Beach Harbor. Thousands of spectators lined the shore. Hughes
He's
announced
cagey
he would
because
not
Howard
fly
Hughes
the
told him
plane
to be
then. This would
cagey
be a
to the
taxi
media.
test only. Flight testing would come the following year.
Smart
At
man.
this time, there were 32 people on board the plane, including 7 news reporters chosen by lottery. A hydraulics engineer sat at Hughes' right side. The flying boat was so big that for the first time in history, muscle power alone was not enough to manipulate the
Muscle
controls
power
unit.
alone.
The hydraulic system that was used multiplied the pilot's strength 200 times. The first taxi run was at 45 miles an hour. Hughes swung the plane around and taxied a second time at 70. On the third run, he called for 15 degrees flaps, pushed the 8 engines to full throttle, and the largest airplane ever built lifted off the water. It flew about a mile and reached an altitude of 70 feet. It was one of aviation's truly epic flights. Stan Soderbergh was in a launch nearby. He describes the start of the third run.
We're laying off the side of the airplane, and it was laying dead in the water, and he only had one engine running at the time. He cranked them all up, and the flaps come down, and he gave her throttles, and as it picked up speed, it's up on the step, and away she went.
How did you feel when the big plane lifted off?
My personal feelings were like you made the winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl. We were all very happy and excited for Mr. Hughes and for those of us that had worked on the airplane for the previous year.
Afterwards,
Quite a-
when
quite a
Hughes was asked
monumental
why he
achievement.
changed his mind and actually took off, he said in a characteristic understatement, "I like to make surprises." Did Hughes plan all along to fly that day?
Only Mr. Hughes knows that, but probably in the back of his mind he thought about it, but I know that he didn't want to kill himself and a bunch of people to prove a point, but I feel after the first slow run and the second high-speed run that everything felt good to him, and on the third one, when he put the flaps down, there was no doubt about it in anyone's mind that knew anything about this airplane.
The surprise takeoff was not only a personal triumph for Hughes, it was convincing proof that such gigantic cargo planes were practical after all. But there was no longer a military urgency for his giant flying boat. and Hughes eventually returned to movie making and then more and more to commercial aviation. The popular outcry that arose when it was thought the Spruce Goose might be dismembered proved that the great seaplane had long since established its own special place in the affections of people everywhere. As soon as it was placed on public view, it became one of the most popular attractions in the country.
I didn't hear anything. I love March. March is so good.
Had become a universal term of endearment.
It's such happy music. It's so very.
Because the only spruce used
I love March. I need to get into really classic March, I think. Yeah.
So that visitors can inspect the Spruce Goose closely.
I don't care if it was made for battle.
Platforms have been built on one side up to the level of the cockpit.
I like fanfare.
Up here, close to the mighty engines, it's possible to appreciate something of their enormous size and power. The four-bladed propellers are 17 feet long. The Spruce Goose could carry enough gasoline to drive the average modern family car around the world 15 times. In the pilot's seat is a startlingly lifelike mannequin of Howard Hughes, dressed as he was on the day of the momentous flight. Hughes followed an individualistic approach in virtually every project he undertook, and he always preferred to act as his own test pilot. He once said, "Why should I pay somebody else to have all the fun?" Viewing windows have been cut into the side of the plane to give visitors a chance to see the instrument panels and the passenger seats located midships on the flight deck. There were 2 flight engineers on duty during the flight of the Spruce Goose. Part of their job was to monitor fuel and oil and to be certain the engines responded to the pilot's commands. With 8 Pratt & Whitneys to oversee, they were busy men. The crew could enter the wing from the flight deck for in-flight inspection and adjustment of the engines. The wing, here at the point where it joins the hull, measures 13 feet between its top and bottom surfaces. On the next level below the flight deck is the cavernous cargo hold. This is the view looking toward the tail. The red tanks are CO2 bottles for use in the fire control system. Here, visitors are able to enter the flying boat itself and inspect the cargo area from an interior viewing enclosure. The design payload of the Spruce Goose was 200,000 pounds, equal to its own weight. It was to provide fast and safe transportation for either 750 fully outfitted combat troops or 2 tanks. This was far greater than any cargo ever dreamed of for an airplane up to that time. An authentic Sherman tank, model M4A1, widely used in World War II, is on display inside the dome next to the Spruce Goose. The aircraft was designed to carry 2 of this type of medium tank. At one time, the nose of the plane had clamshell doors to permit cargo loading directly into the hold. But before the test flight, they were replaced with the present solid nose. One of the most exciting added attractions at the Spruce Goose is the light show. Computer-operated banks of 1,000-watt floodlights in white, royal blue, red, amber, and peacock blue bathe the seaplane in ever-changing splashes of vivid color. The tints are produced not by the usual gelatin filters, but by stained glass.
The asteroid is depleted. The asteroid is depleted.
the light show offers special fun.
Sorry guys,
for the
I'm just
color photographer.
saving a bookmark.
The
I
entire
won't be
program
long.
of colored lights runs about 10 minutes and alternates with a 3-minute interval of steady white illumination when all the lights are on full. There's a cutaway engine on display that turns in slow motion to demonstrate its operation. Visitors are always impressed with the fact that these engines, built well before the jet age was born, are rated at over 3,000 horsepower each.
The
And the
asteroid
plane
is
has 8
depleted.
of them. From nose to tail, the Spruce Goose is more than 218 feet in length. Its wings stretch 320 feet from tip to tip, longer than a football field. The plane is so big, in fact, that the only real way to appreciate its enormous size is through comparisons. Here are two. A DC-10 could be parked under each of these giant wings. The flying boat's horizontal tail surface is longer than the entire wingspan of a Boeing 727, and the vertical fin rises 80 feet above the ground. One of the early design proposals called for twin hulls, but that was rejected in favor of a single fuselage. The Goose still rests on the same cradle on which it was stored for so many years. The reflecting pool here greatly enhances the beauty and drama of the setting. Besides the plane itself, the dome contains many exhibits relating to the Goose and to Howard Hughes. Several short audio-visual programs offer a wealth of interesting background information.
Excuse me.
There's also a well-stocked gift shop and a convenient snack bar. The Spruce Goose and the Man Who Built and Flew It are each one of a kind, authentic examples of American inventiveness and enterprise. Here, in the glare of floodlights, the plane exerts a strong and mysterious fascination, just as Hughes himself did when he was in the public eye. Everyone who visits the Spruce Goose and the Queen Mary as well nearby should remember that in each case it was literally an 11th hour rescue that preserved them from destruction. Now, with so many people visiting and enjoying them every day, it scarcely seems possible that we nearly lost them both. The Spruce Goose and the Queen Mary, two of mankind's great triumphs of technology, are now neighboring giants here in Long Beach. Companion attractions presented by Rather Port Properties Limited. Their final home is a happy one.
Thank you, Cade, for the excellent content from your stream. I'd like to sub to your channel. I haven't even watched the video yet, but yeah, this was amazing. Yeah, very good. Finley Holiday, thank you so much for the excellent content for my stream. From Finley Holiday's Film Vault, circa 1985, the world premiere of our documentary on Howard Hughes and the Spruce Goose. The film has only been seen by a lucky few who bought the VHS at the Spruce Goose gift shop in the 1980s. That's actually awesome. Yeah, I thought this was so well made. I wonder what other stuff Finley Holiday has. Moab's Living Soil Crust. Welcome to Moab. They live in the Moab Desert, and they care about the Moab Desert a lot. And they put on the Hoover Armchair Traveler premiere. Huh? Okay, Price, Cyan. So they're a world traveler. That's cool. I like Finley Holiday. Really cool. Oops, sorry. Next, oh, the Spruce Goose was moved to Oregon, huh? I wanted to watch these industry guides. Thank you, K Plays Games. I'd like to sub to your channel. We're gonna learn about industry now, guys, which is discipline. It's like the EVE Online's version of crafting, but it's all basically factory work where you do batches of stuff to fit ships and stuff like that. And it plays kind of like Satisfactory a little bit, not in terms of its building, but in its resources, and it's definitely cool. And I want to know more about industry, but I haven't crashed it in like 12 years now, or I think it's like 11 years now. Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm K-Plays Games, this is EVE Online, and this is the second video in our series on industry. In the first video in this series, we did a very quick run through of the
200.
basic manufacturing process, and in this video we'll be diving deeper into the first step of that process, which is deciding what to build. If you're building things for personal use, then you'll know what blueprints you need, and likewise if your corporation or alliance are asking you to build certain items, then you'll also know what is required of you. But deciding what to build for profit is a process in itself with many things to consider. Profit margin is one of the main factors to take into account. After all, there's no point building something that you can't sell at a profit. It's relatively easy to identify the items with the largest profit margins due to there being lots of third-party blueprint calculators out there on the internet. This is one of them. This is the Fuzzworks version. Again, you just type in what you're building. There's lots of sliders for the blueprint quality and your skills and where you're building it and the tax rates. Then it will just work out all the build times and the profit per unit. This is the Adam for Eve version, and likewise this has lots of things that you can input,
Oh, I'm
lots of
full.
sliders
Oops.
to play with, and this
I didn't
one
realize.
will actually give you big long lists of things and you can actually sort them by profitability, so that's nice. So if it's that easy to work out what to build for the best profit margin, then why have I bothered to make this entire video? Well, profit margin per unit is only one of the things that you need to consider. How many units are actually demanded by the market at that price is another thing. There is no point in building 100,000 units of something with a really high profit margin if the market is only demanding about 1,000 units of it. All you'll end up with is a mountain of 90,000 unsold items, and you will have sunk the cost of building them into them, and you're going to have to get rid of them somehow, and that usually means having a fire sale and selling them cheap, which kills the profit margin. So market trading volume is an important thing to consider. You can do this in-game on the market page. We pick the antimatter charge M, which is what we were building in the first video. And instead of the market data, which is the usual window you see, you click this price history tab here, and you get this snazzy looking graph. So let's go through it. This big box at the bottom is how many days you want the graph to show. I usually have it set on 90 days. You can drag the box and scan back in time or forward in time. These blue bars are how many orders were fulfilled for that item in this region on that day, and the total quantity of the items that were sold. Ideally you'd like these to be quite static and same. This is like big peaks and troughs because I'm not in a region that has a trade hub, so it is like on this day there was 30 orders and 630,000. 3 days later there was 3 orders with a total of 5,000 units. These orange dots are the median day price, so this is the average price that was attained on that day. The blue and orange lines are the moving averages, tracking price changes over 5 and 20 days respectively. The big strange shaded thing in the background is the Donchian channel, and the Donchian is a measure of the difference between the lowest price and the highest price paid for that item in that day. So if there's a really high Donchian and it's changing all the time, it can mean a really unstable market. If it's a big dip like this, then perhaps someone dumped lots of units on the market and suppressed the price for that day. Or if there's a huge spike up here, then possibly someone put in a big order to buy them and put the price up to make sure they got a fulfillment of that order. So these are all good things that you can have a look at when you're doing your market research. So what is it we're actually wanting on this graph? Well, as I said before, we'd quite like these blue bars to be pretty consistent, and we'd like the moving averages to be fairly flat and the Donchian not to be too wild, because that then indicates a nice stable market with stable prices and decent demand. That means we can sell lots and lots of our item without crashing the price. When it comes to profit margin, you can actually make more profit overall by selling a higher volume of items which have a lower profit margin than relying on selling a few items with a higher margin. Compare, for instance, the difference between selling one item for $1,000 profit against selling 1,000 items at $2 each. Now these graphs in game are only on a region by region basis. You can use third-party sites online such as Eve's Tycoon. You type in what you're building and Tomato Charge M, and then you click this big Show History button here, and this will give you a graph that works in exactly the same way as the one in-game does, but it gives you this nice selector up here so you can select every region in the game and have a look at it on a region by region basis. This lets you do intensive market research from the comfort of your own home without having to travel to each different region and open the in-game market. Another thing to consider whilst we're on the market page are your input materials and whether or not there are any issues there. If you don't have a constant source of the materials you need to build the items, then your industrial output will fall. And if the prices of these materials are fluctuating wildly, then that means your profit margins will be all over the place. More market research needs to be done to study the availability and price history of the input materials you need. Another thing to consider is the build speed. How long does it take you to build each unit? So how many units can you produce in a day or a week or a month? And then have a look at the market again and work out if the market is able to handle that amount of output. Do you have to limit yourself to building only a certain number of items every day, week or month?
Almost
To
there.
prevent flooding the market and killing the price? And what does that work out as in terms of ISK per day or week or month? So as well as all the market research and market trading volumes, you also have to consider the physical volume of the product you're creating. 1,000 units of ammunition will take up far less cargo space than 1,000 units of a module. And if you're building ships, then each ship will be several thousand cubic meters in size per unit. So do we just try to sell these big bulky objects from where we built them in order to avoid having to move them around the galaxy? If so, in that case, how do we entice people to come to us and buy them from where we are instead of simply going to a trade hub to do their shopping? Well, usually you'll do that by lowering your price, which eats into your profit margin. Okay, so we've decided against that, so maybe we will haul things up to market. So now we have to decide how we're going to get them there. What size of ship are we going to need to put all of our items into? How far away is the place we want to sell them? How long will it take us to get up there? Are there any dangerous systems along that route? Will we get killed on the way to market and lose all our stuff? Once again, there is a third-party tool called Gate Checker. What you do with this, you just simply type in where you are, where you're going, select your easy filter and click check. And then this will scan the Z kill board, and it will flag any kills at the gates. Okay, so it looks like between Amar and Jita it's fairly quiet until you get to Uidama. So let's have a look at the kill board in Uidama. Okay, lots of action going on here, lots of capsules. I'm assuming this is the gankers. Catalysts, yeah, ganking ships. Aha, this must be what they killed. Here's a ship that they killed. Let's have a look at this. Yep, so this guy's bowhead was worth 3 billion ISK and he was killed by a grand total of 16 players, most of them flying catalysts. Oh, 16 catalysts doing 700 damage a second for 20 seconds each. That's a lot of damage. So Gate Checker can show you where kills have happened, but it does only show you where kills happened, not where they're going to happen. It cannot predict the future. But at least you know where they've been active on any given day. You can reduce the risk by avoiding systems like Uidama, which are 0.5 or 0.6 security, because Concord take much longer to show up in these systems, which makes them popular with pirates because they have longer to kill people. So you can try and avoid these systems, but that may make your route very, very long indeed. Another way of reducing risk is to fit your hauling ship correctly. Ideally, you want nice balanced resistances and effective hit points of at least 15,000. This is for two main reasons. One commonly used pirate ship is the Tornado battlecruiser. A tornado will hit you for around 14,000 damage instantly in a single volley. Their guns have a cycle time of around 15 seconds, so hopefully you should be able to escape into the warp by the time they get to that second volley. In the previously mentioned 0.5 and 0.6 security systems, Concorde will take between 14 and 20 seconds to show up. So if you do hang around, then the tornado might get off a second volley and finish you off. Because tornadoes rely on instantly deleting people with massive volley damage, they don't bother fitting warp disruptors or warp scramblers, so you should be able to escape, but if you want to, feel free to fit a warp core stabilizer. The second reason you want 15,000 effective hit points at a bare minimum is because of another pirating ship called the Catalyst, 16 of which we have seen
there we
can
go.
kill a bowhead. Instead of relying on instantly deleting you with a single massive volley, each of these little guys will push out around 700 damage a second. So 700 damage a second times 20 seconds for the cops to show up, that's around 14,000 damage, which again is why you want to have at least 15,000. So as well as absorbing the damage, what you want to do is to reduce your line into warp time by fitting things like inertia stabilizers, nanofiber bulkheads, low friction nozzle joint rigs, and polycarbon engine housing rigs. All of these will help you get off the gate and into warp faster where you're nice and safe. The less time you spend aligning, the less damage you're going to be taking. You'll have to balance your fit to maximize the effective hit points, but also reduce the align time and perhaps fit a warp core stabilizer and maybe some cargo expanders as well, so you can actually fit the items into your ship. Now, all of these things are low power slots, so low power slots are at a premium. Many haulers therefore use shield tanks because they are basically all mid power slots. I wouldn't bother fitting active hardeners and shield boosters because a tornado will simply delete you instantly before you even get a chance to turn them on. So passive resistances are the order of the day. Of course, this 15,000 EHP guide is all based on being attacked by a single opportunistic pirate. If there's any more than one, then you're in deep trouble, because obviously that's double the damage, and as we saw, 16 guys will attack expensive ships to make sure of the kill. All we can do is mitigate the risk. The best way of mitigating risk is not to be an obvious target. That means not flying around with hundreds and hundreds or billions of loot in your badly fitted industrial hauler, because that will flag you as an easy target and a loot pinata. Again, we can have a look at some kills. Hey, this bestower, he had no tank, he had inertial stabilizers, so we could align a bit faster. He had a warp core stabilizer, so we could escape being warp disrupted. But he was killed by a single tornado who killed him by dealing only 2,130 damage because he had no resistances and no tank. Next up, we have this mammoth who was killed by a single tornado who did just under 6,000 damage, which was enough to kill him. Cargo rigs, all cargo stuff in the low slots. He did actually have some medium shield extenders to push his shield hit points up, but again, he had no resistances, which is why he died. Okay, our next contestant is this Iteron Mark V, who was killed by a single tornado that dealt around 4,000 damage. Low slots were all cargo and cargo rigs. Again, he had extenders. He did actually have some shield hardeners, but as I said, he was just instantly deleted by this tornado, so he never got a chance to turn them on. So he basically had no resistances. And here's a Kaldari guy who was again killed by a single tornado that dealt around 6,000 damage. He actually had passive resistances in the form of this damage control and a warp core stabilizer and inertial stabilizers and nanofibers. And an extender.
I don't know what's
rig.
going on. It
Again,
froze like
more
the minute I got in.
extenders and an active hardener. So he never got a chance to turn this hardener on. He was just instantly deleted. And we have this Tech 2 deep space transport, which is an impel. As we see, this guy was killed by 4 tornadoes who dealt a total of 21,000 damage. And this guy lost 93 billion ISK, billion with a B, 93,000 million ISK. He had the stupidest fit I've ever seen. He had spent hundreds of millions of ISK on really expensive armor hardeners, and as we know, when you're attacked by tornadoes, you don't get a chance to turn your hardeners on, so he may as well have saved his hundreds of millions and not fitted them at all, because he never turned any of them on. Now I have actually simulated this guy's fit,
active.
and if he did manage to turn these on
Fuck.
and overheat
I
them,
think I
which is what you
did
do,
full
you're
blown
under
crash.
attack,
Son of a
he would have had about
bitch.
200,000
Son of a
effective hit points
bitch.
and pretty good
Don't freeze my
resistances.
screen.
Even without turning these on, he still had about 49,000 effective hit points. But again, because he didn't have a damage control or any resistance rigs, he was relying on his base resistances, and because of that, they shot right through these base resistances and killed him in a single shot. And that was
Damn it.
93 billion-esque up in flames. So keep your cargo modest to avoid unfortunate incidents like these guys. But we are trying to carry market value to market to turn it into real ISK. So you're going to have to decide how much risk you're going to take in moving stuff around. We'll cover the process of actually selling items at the destination in a future video in this series. So to recap this video, to decide what to build, the things you need to think about are the profit margin per unit, the market demand for that item, how much is demanded and are the prices stable? Are there any issues with the input materials? Are they available? Are the prices stable? How many units can we build, or how many units